Feel this in your heart space. If there's a color, give it a color. If there's a shape, give it a shape. And just feel that feeling of pure joy. Enjoy your meditation. So staying in this presence of the light within our hearts, imagine this beautiful white light filled with joy and love and peace coming out from your heart space, going everywhere around you, everywhere in the world, sharing this energy of this light that is already inside of us, that is already inside of every person, every place, and everything. And we are joining with that. So with this light, we send any healing that needs to be healed. We send love where love needs to be. And we say, thank you, universe. So we send this out into the universe knowing that it is done. And together we say, and so it is.
Come on, weatherman, give us a forecast, snowy white. Can't you hear the prayers of every childlike heart tonight? Rockies are calling, Denver snow falling. Somebody said it's 4 feet deep, but it doesn't matter. Give me the laughter. I'm gonna choose to keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the love circles around us like the gifts around our tree. Well, I know there's more snow up in Colorado than my roof will ever see, but a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for me. Every now and then I get a wandering urge to see maybe California, maybe tinsel towns for me. There's a parade there, we'd have it made there. Bring home a tan for New Year's Eve. Sure sounds exciting, it's awfully inviting. Still, I think I'd rather keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the love circles around us like the gifts around our tree. Well, they say in LA it's a warm holiday, it's the only place to be. But a tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for me. Tender Tennessee Christmas is the only Christmas for me.
Thank you, Sonia. Happy solstice, Amani. Hoo-hoo. Right here from the front row. Hoo-hoo. Because that's what we say at solstice, right? Everybody. Hoo-hoo. Well done. I had a great honor a few weeks ago to interview a lighting designer in Sacramento. He does some lighting around homes, but a lot of the things he does are like big, massive public works. Lots of lights, lots of politics around those things. We were emailing back and forth before we interviewed, and I noticed that below his signature line on his emails, there was one line, making every day a little brighter. And I thought, oh, isn't that clever for a lighting guy, for a lighting designer? And then right after that, I thought, well, we could all do that, right? We could all make every day just a little bit brighter. We don't necessarily have to sign our emails that way, but why not? But certainly we have the opportunity to just give that vibe all the time. And that's when I thought of that affirmation that I'd heard a long, long time ago, that a candle loses nothing by lighting another. That's true, right? Well, first candle doesn't go out just because of more light. You keep your own light, and then you light up someone else's life as well. The lighting designer didn't have to sign off that way, but it made my day when he did. So this is an invitation for all of us to make someone's day with some light, making every day a little brighter. I want to be known for that, don't you? Yeah. A long time ago, there was a Southern gospel singer called Reverend Gary Davis. Some people called him Blind Gary Davis, Reverend Gary Davis, and there are still some contemporary singers who carry on his work. Very spiritual, but very bluesy. And he sang a song that had really got my attention the first time I heard it, because there's a one-line chorus in one of his songs that is just so irresistible. As long as I am in this world, I am a light in this world. Say that. As long as I am in this world, I am a light in this world. Absolutely. I want to be known for that too, don't you? Absolutely. So here we are with winter solstice, the shortest day of the year when we need the light the most. I like these short days. One of the reasons, I mean, yeah, it's dark and it's cold, but I feel like I get so much done at this time of year because I go and I go and I go and I just do so much stuff, and then it's midnight. Well, now really it's only 4 p.m. It just feels like midnight. But there is something for me about hunkering down, about wearing a favorite sweater, about drinking a hot beverage that's very comforting. So I like this time of year for that reason. But it does require turning on a few extra lights in the house and everywhere you go. All over the world, there are festivals of light. all over the world. We think of solstice as being maybe in a certain part of the world, but the shortest day of the year is celebrated a lot of different places. So you know me, I like to look those things up and share a few festivals with you, and I'm going to do that. One of them is the Hindu tradition. It was actually practiced in the fall more than this time of year, but it's a beautiful Hindu tradition called Diwali. Diwali translates as Festival of Lights. Isn't that clever? Yes. It's wonderful because it's dedicated to worshiping the goddess of wealth and prosperity. Okay, I'm in. That's good right there. And it revolves around a certain day in the late fall that has no moon. A no moon day is considered to be a most auspicious day. So that's how that tradition comes about. But it's not just one day, it's 5. 5 days of peace and prosperity and wealth in a dark time of the year, and it all centers around candles. It all centers around lighting up the world. Not just candles, but oil lamps. Not just oil lamps, but oil lamps on streets, oil lamps floating on rivers, oil lamps surrounded by people in brightly colored clothing, oil lamps that are surrounded by beautiful flowers that are mostly pink and gold. I mean, everything is just so vibrant at Diwali. It's just hard to avoid that and hard to not absolutely love it. So that's one of the celebrations. China has a lantern festival at this time of year with red lanterns honoring the Buddha. It's a wonderful thing, but again, it comes at the darkest time of the year when we need light. We are looking for light. We are longing for light in a lot of ways. And Hanukkah. Tonight is the last night of Hanukkah. I light the candles every year. I say the prayers in English. I never learned Hebrew, but I do because, and then, you know, latkes. Can I do latkes? Savory potatoes floating in oil. What could be better than latkes? It's so great because oil is the heart of Hanukkah. There were the Jews in the 2nd century wondering how they were going to make enough light with one night's worth of lamp oil. No problem. We're talking about the chosen people here. You knew there would be a good answer. 8 nights that oil lasted. 8 nights, and that was enough. There is a prayer in the Book of Prayers. That's what it's called, the Book of Prayers. There is part of that prayer for lighting the candles at Hanukkah that says, "We kindle these lights on account of the miracles, the deliverances, and the wonders which thou didst work for our fathers." Nice. And of course, in addition to that miracle, Hanukkah just reminds us that we are always given what we need and that will always last. We're always given what we need and so much more. So it's a good reminder in that respect as well. Indigenous people have their celebrations around winter solstice, some of which are just so wonderful and lovely. The tribes of the Hopi tribes of Arizona have the Soyal, Soyal celebration. It includes purification and dancing, and all the Kachina dolls come down from the mountains to protect the people. It's just a lovely way to celebrate it. A Persian festival called Yalda, or Shab Yalda, it's the birthday of the sun god. Now, why is the sun god's birthday in the middle of the winter? I don't know this, but that's what it's about. It's to celebrate the sun god, and some people stay awake on that holiday at this time of year. I think it was Friday night. Stay awake all night so that they can be there in the morning when the sun comes up to celebrate and honor the sun god. Kwanzaa, even though it falls a little bit later, starting on the 26th, Kwanzaa has its own set of candles. Kwanzaa has its own set of values to celebrate. Are you familiar with the 7 days of Kwanzaa and the values involved? I had to write them down because I don't have them memorized. Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and then the last one is imani, meaning faith. Again, there are lights and a candle to be lit every day, every evening for Kwanzaa. For people who are Christian, there are so many celebrations that we know about that have to do with lights at this time of year. Lights are often associated with St. Nicholas. We celebrate him in early December. If you're from a family like mine, you have gifts coming to you on St. Nicholas Day, which leaves December 25th for more of a spiritual holiday without some of the hoopla of gift giving on that day. December 13th was St. Lucia Day. And in the countries where St. Lucia is celebrated, the oldest girl in the family wears a wreath of lighted candles. Yeah, what could go wrong? That's intended to light the way for the Christ child. And also lighting the way, we know about the celebration of luminarias on Christmas Eve to light the way for the Christ child. I didn't know until I started looking this up that luminaria, now they're made with paper bags or maybe some ceramic piece and a candle inside, maybe some sand to hold everything in place. Originally, there were little packages of pinon branches and needles, and those were set ablaze. Again, what could go wrong? Christmas lights in general. I mean, if you think about the old Christmas trees where they'd light candles and put them on the tree. Yeah. Anyway, back to solstice. This is the day. This is the day when the sun has its lowest place in the sky, and that is called Yule or Yule. The solstice honors the darkest day by acknowledging that every day now, from here on out, is going to get lighter and brighter. And what a wondrous thing that is to slowly, it's a part of cleansing the soul, to slowly wait for those days to get longer and for the brightness to come. And solstice, talk about light. Solstice has the granddaddy of all lights, the Yule log, which is so enormous because it's meant to burn for weeks on end as we get through these long winter days. I just read a story this morning on BBC. See, I had to add this little note to because I just read this story on BBC's digital page. We know about some of the ancient places where solstice was celebrated, like Stonehenge, where the stones line up perfectly to be in alignment for the sun on this day. There are those exist all over the world. There's, in addition to Stonehenge, there's Newgrange in Ireland, Callanish in Outer Hebrides. There's one called La Roche au Fay in Britain. And I just barely know French, but La Roche au Fay means, like, isn't that the rock of faith? There you go, the stones of faith lined up so that everything is in alignment on solstice. What a wonderful thing. There are also a number of modern solstice alignments that BBC pointed out. One is in Japan, it's called the Worship Tunnel. One is in Arizona, the Rodin Crater, where everything is just lined up, but very modern. They're not stones, they're metal contraptions and sculpture and just beautiful things to see, but continuing the great solstice tradition. And in Utah, the sun tunnels do the same thing. Well, you know me, I like a good Celtic tradition. I think I've pointed that out about 85,000 times. There is a solstice tradition, a Celtic tradition of solstice that includes mistletoe. Mistletoe, we know how it's celebrated and used today, but the old tradition was that mistletoe was completely useless if it fell to the ground. You had to do something and honor it while it was still in the tree. Okay, that makes sense. That's why we kiss under the mistletoe. Now I get it. Just had to point that out to you. I didn't know that. I thought I'd share it with you. The ancient Romans had their own way of celebrating this day, whether they called it solstice or not. It was the festival of Saturnalia. It happened around this time of year. What I thought was interesting about that celebration is, yeah, lots of games and feasts, and it was several days long, but for those several days, slaves were not slaves. Slaves for those few days were treated as equals. Everyone was considered equal. Kind of weird that then they had to go back into that other way of living, but just for those few days, there was equity in a way that was not known at other times of year. I found a passage about the Greek celebration of the solstice that I thought was interesting. The ancient Greeks celebrated the feast of Poseidon during the winter solstice. Men and women would separate for a time, so the men could light bonfires and feast by them, while the women ate cakes and drank. Oh, look, we're getting applause for this. Eating cakes and drink. I don't even drink, but that sounds so good to me. Let's have cakes and drink. Why not? What a holiday. In some of the ancient cultures, really what's going on with winter solstice is a sacred contract. A sacred contract between us as human beings and the earth and the sky, just as we heard in the directions. That sacred contract is what this holiday is really all about. And failure to celebrate a solstice or even an equinox was considered a bad omen for what might come to you next. So not celebrating this day, not a good thing. Good thing we're celebrating it here today. I've joked about the food and drink as that makes a great holiday. But really, for the ancients, eating and drinking of any type was a part of their prayerful practice. And so that's why there were big feasts on a holiday like this. That's why there was drinking and that kind of celebration. To eat and drink was considered part of honoring the day and part of maintaining the sacred contract. So were the lights. That was also part of the prayerful practice. The lights being practical, of course, when the days are short. But all of this raised a bigger question for me, and a bigger question that I want to share with you. The bigger question on my mind is, why do we seek the light? Yes, there is the practical reason. It gets dark at 4 o'clock. We need to seek the light. But why do we seek light? Why are we celebrating a day that looks forward to more and more light? Why do we look forward to more and more light in our lives? What is it in us as humans that wants to go that direction? We're only celebrating this day because it leads to light. We're not celebrating a part of the day where we get darker and darker and darker, but when we get lighter and lighter. So why do we seek the light? That's something I started to think about. And the bigger question, the bigger definition, I think, of light with a capital L, consciousness. Why do we seek consciousness? Why do we seek psychic illumination? What is in that? What is in that that we want? What is in that that we need? What is in that that we're looking for? Spiritual enlightenment. You hear people talking about their search, their journey. Very few people say, and so I've landed, I'm done now. It's the search that's ongoing, but it's important to us to keep it going. When we say we want to see the light, what is it we're really looking for? Something that I'm thinking about, something that you can think about too. I read Dan Brown's latest book called The Secret of Secrets. Whoa, what a ride. It's a crazy, it's Dan Brown. It's a crazy ride. And in a couple of months, I'm going to give a talk based on that book. It's really very interesting. There is what he delivers as a rather controversial assertion. We won't find it controversial at all. But he delivers it as a controversial assertion, which is that consciousness is not within the mind of any one of us. Consciousness is outside of all of us, and we each are able to tap into it to one degree or another based on who we are, what we believe in, and he uses a lot of radio analogies. Okay, he had my attention there. He uses a lot of radio analogies. Is our signal strong enough? Can we pick up the signal of consciousness somewhere else? Which station are you turned into? He looks at all of those things and asks all of those questions. And what Brown and his characters consider pretty controversial in the book is really well known to us in science of mind and in New Thought. Consciousness is available to everyone. Maybe some of us pick up on it differently or more or less, but my acceptance and awareness of consciousness is really no higher or better or deeper than yours. We all have access to it. Consciousness does not belong to any one person because it's not in us. It's there at all times for us to see, for us to be enlightened by, for us to accept, and for us to share as well. It's like the sky above, it's like the earth below. It's ours, and we get to decide how much we want to use it. How and to what extent we tap into it varies from person to person. But more than that, I think it's important that we know that it's up to us to make it shine, to make that consciousness light and bright, to make it shine. As we, the extent to which we look for our consciousness really says so much about who we are. Not whether we achieve it, but how we look for it, how we expect it, how we seek it out, more than what we find. And maybe, just maybe, our little radio antenna can be sharpened a little bit with practice. I like to think so. Maybe we can bring in that signal a little bit more clearly. Maybe we can improve our consciousness, but more like improve our awareness of consciousness. Maybe we can brighten our light. So as we enter this amazing time of giving and receiving, remember that you are the light of this season. It's not those lights or those lights or those lights. It's you. You are the light of this season. Your consciousness, your awareness of the bigger consciousness is the light that you share. And your light is the light that you give, not just to the people you know, but just walking down the street smiling and being light and bright is going to affect everyone around you. John and I were talking before service began about why do we focus on this stuff once a year when the light is always there, the consciousness is always there. What do we bring to it? Starting tomorrow and every day after solstice, your job and mine, our job is to be the metaphysical proof of that lighting designer's message, making every day a little brighter. That's why we're here. Because a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And as Reverend Gary Davis saying, just as long as you are in this world, you are a light in this world. Blessed solstice to you and to yours, and together we say, and so it is.
And now it's time for our joyous time of giving and a few ways that you can give to this wonderful center. First of all, it is a spiritual practice, giving, because it actually is a demonstration that you know where your good comes from, that you believe in source, and that you know it provides for you. And so I give first, before I get. And then I'm really surprised when I have more than enough and give some more. Anyway, so there's a QR code here you can take a picture of and go right to, it has a link, go right to Venmo, it looks like, and then a donate button at the end of every newsletter or everything that comes out from the center. You can set it up recurring on your bank. It's easy. That way, if you're not here one Sunday, you can have it come to the center, and that actually helps the board do a budget for the year, for the month, knowing what comes in every month. It helps tremendously. You can also, as we pass the baskets, place it in the basket, write a check and mail it to us. But as the basket goes by, if you've already given, just bless that basket and see those donations, those tithes, those offerings multiply. And seeing that in your mind's eye, so it is. And so now we have a song, and our practitioner of the day, Jamie's going to come up and do a spiritual mind treatment.
I love a Celtic tune. This is an old Irish song they used to sing at New Year's, and still do, I think. And I'm appropriating it, so. Of all the money that e'er I've had, I have spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I've had, they are sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I've loved would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night, and joy be with you all. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all.
So, spiritual mind treatment that we're going to do for this beautiful abundance. Just go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And help us remember that we have trillions of cells of light flowing through our body every moment, every breath, every heartbeat. We are abundant with life and light and love. And so we see this beautiful light inside of us that just gives. And we see that light shining out into the universe, giving to every other light. And we are so blessed, and we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, universe. And together we say, and so it is. So we were going to actually, now that we have the slides, if we could possibly go back to the slides, because there's just a couple classes that we're going to be offering in January that we would love to share with you and just get you guys going on the ideas of what we have available. So can you, yeah. So let's see. So we talked about nourishing the body. That's going to be coming up. So more news on that will be coming. The vision board workshop, and that is an amazing process to do in the beginning of the year, to think about what you want to bring into your life and set that intention in the beginning of the year so that that light can go out and shine within your year and bring the things into your life that you want and love. And then was there any more? Is that it? Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Have the kids come back yet? All right. Are they having, wait, they had a great affirmation to play with today. So could I invite Reverend Pixie and Jamie and Sonia to lead us in the closing song? and invite all of you to stand.
The presence is here. The presence is here. Love and spirit prevail on each face. The presence is here. Amen. The presence is here. And I will meet you in grace. I will meet you in grace.
Just want to say it one more time. A candle loses nothing by lighting a candle, so you go and shine on.
So it is.